Oh, that's quite intense. Sort of squish it around, and that will give you the best effect with your mistake corrector. My name is Constantino Milan. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to use erasers. I will be demonstrating all of the different properties that erasers have and how you can best utilize them in your drawings. I will be using a brush, powdered charcoal, this hard eraser. I have this kneadable eraser. I have hard, medium, and soft charcoal. This ultra dark China marker, a white soft pastel pencil, and a softener for my charcoal ground. I'm going to just start with my brush here and my charcoal. Oh, that's quite intense. No problem though, we'll smudge that all out. I really like these little wispy transitions. They look very candle-like. Make sure not to breathe this stuff in because it can really mess with you throughout your day, make you sneeze. So try your hardest not to get super close to it. I'm going to transition to the paper towel method. You can just dip it in here. Does the same thing. Makes it much softer, as you can see. You really want to make sure to rub it in so that you don't have any loose charcoal flying around, smudging up your drawing. Build up my ground as much as possible. That's about as dark as you can go with powdered charcoal on white blank surface. Doesn't really have to be perfect. It's just sort of to get rid of all the white so you're not like constantly battling your surface. So this is about the value that you're looking for. You should be able to do this and just barely get a little bit of charcoal off. That's about good for my ground. Next, I'm going to sketch out the contour of my form. I'm going to start building up those layers and then I can demonstrate the erasers. So I have gotten in all of my midtones and darks. I'm going to start with my kneadable eraser and I'm just going to subtract lighter tones from the midtones. Don't immediately go to the harshest edges first. Build up from the soft all the way till the really refined. And that will give you the best effect with your erasers, that defining edge, the contrast between the white and the dark. Sort of getting these soft edges sort of working from the back forward, just to get sort of like that background effect. Just sort of going around in the areas that I see that have a sort of halo effect. If you're using a kneadable eraser, you're gonna have to sort of squish it around so that you keep a nice and clean surface that will really subtract, because if you keep subtracting from the drawing, then it'll build up a lot of graphite on the eraser and it won't work. So again, just going really softly. You don't wanna go too harsh because then, you know, if you make a mistake with your mistake corrector, then you can't undo that. You have to build up the layers again and that takes more time. So just be really careful not to take off too much. You can always subtract more. And I'm also not really going to the edges, as you can see, because you don't want to go right to the edge with this eraser because this eraser doesn't really do well with harsh edges. That's why you use a hard eraser for the more hard edges. So what's really good about kneadable erasers is that you can really form them to any shape you want. So you just round it out to the shape you need and voila. So now I'm going to add in my more harsh edges with this hard eraser. I'm going to add a little bit more pressure to the eraser and really have some really harsh edges. So you have that really nice white against black sort of contrast right there. So that'll really create a nice crisp glow to this drawing. Get some really, really sharp highlights in here that I might not be able to really fully achieve with this eraser, but I'm gonna try and get as close as I can before I go into the final steps of adding my really bright whites. So now I'm adding in my favorite part, the flame. You don't want to go so just like harsh and like immediately put in all the form. You want to sort of slowly work your way. That will give it a really nice, effortless, emerging look. Flames aren't super harsh. They might appear that way, but when you actually go to draw them, they're not super harsh. If you really need a sharp edge that you just aren't able to get because you've just been overly using your eraser, you can use a razor to cut off a piece or an angle so that you have a more harsh edge. Here, now you have a perfectly good eraser, ready and sharp to be used. And then you can use this because it's tinier now, so you can really control it. So I've really gotten as far as I can with my erasers because I made a really pressed in ground, so it was really hard to subtract the really, really bright whites. So that's why I have this white pastel chalk pencil. So just going to go in and add my really bright whites. It's also sort of nice because it does blend in a bit with the charcoal. You can get some really nice transitions that are just not possible with erasers because they'll really blend in and create a really solid tone. Whereas erasers take away the charcoal, this sort of blends with it to create a really nice, even ground. I've finished adding all of my tiny white details. So now I'm going to go in with a black China marker, just to really get those really black blacks that you can't achieve with the charcoal. Again, just a few things to keep in mind for using erasers. First, start with the soft, kneadable erasers for the really soft, sort of glowing highlights. And then you slowly work your way towards the hard eraser for those really harsh and bright highlights. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this from start to finish. I hope you guys give it a try and really experiment with the use of erasers.